What's up guys, Cody here with Sonic Electronics, and today we're taking a look at the Boss BE7ACP.x and the BE7ACP.wx. These are Boss's entry-level Apple CarPlay, Android Auto car stereos, and they both have a lot of similarities. The two big differences that you're gonna see here, the WX is wireless or wired Apple CarPlay / Android Auto, and it also has a input for idling Maestro capabilities, so you can retain some of those factory features on your aftermarket head unit. But other than that, they're both very run-of-the-mill, very entry-level, but they hit just enough of those bells and whistles to keep you satisfied at the price point that they come in at. They both have a double-din chassis, a 7-inch capacitive touchscreen display, and that beautiful RGB illumination on the front there, which is slightly customizable. As for the back, they do put out 85 watts by 4 channels of peak power, so enough to power some, pretty entry level, like 6.5, 6x9s that you toss in your car when purchasing this guy. As for audio playback and video playback, both pretty entry level there. They have the MP3, the WAV, the FLAC, the WMA, and then, video AVI, MKV, WMV, so pretty standard, pretty entry level on those. They do have a 13-band adjustable EQ, which we'll jump into a little bit later when we come to the front of the radios here. Look at the UI there. As for expandability, also pretty base level. The two that you're going to see on just about every car stereo that really comes out today is steering wheel controls. Great to have if you want to maintain, your all that good stuff. And then Sirius XM input capabilities. So if you're really into that Sirius XM, get that Sirius XM tuner, and you can hook that up, enjoy that as well. As for audio video inputs, they have 3 sets of 4-volt preamp outputs on the rear. Really nice to see them come in at 4 volts. That is one thing that I did really see that kind of stuck out at me. They have 2 camera inputs. They have a front camera and a rear camera input. They're also both equipped with audio video inputs, and something cool that I like on the back here is that it has this little box on the power and ground wire. It's actually a noise filter to kind of help chop out any noise coming through from where you hooked it up and maybe got some ground noise. So that's really cool to see on like an entry-level Apple CarPlay unit from Boss. That you have that extra little feature there. And lastly, it does have USB-A 1.5 amp charging on the rear. And something you're kind of starting to see a little bit more just generally across electronics is the front here is actually USB-C, which is a bit of a bold choice. I like USB-C, phone takes USB-C. It can be a bit annoying when you maybe don't have a USB to USB, C charger on both ends, but get one, pop it in the car, it'll be your car cord. But that's about it for the specs. Overall, pretty pleased with the Boss units in terms of specs at the price point. At that $200 to $300 range, you're not really expecting to get the full bells and whistles, but for what it's aiming to do, I think it really is accomplishing that. So let's hop to the front here and look at some of the UI and give that a go. So here at the front of the radio, we're looking at the home screen here. Pretty standard, but it does have at least kind of everything you're looking for. Quick access to your phone, your settings, your camera input. We'll jump into these a little bit more. Over on the left, you can actually swap between Apple CarPlay and your radio. It kind of has like a little indicator. As for your AM, FM, you can swap here on the left, AM, FM, and Sirius XM if you have that plugged in. Up at the top, your presets that you can quickly click on and then hold to set whenever you find the stations you love. Down at the bottom here, you have the ability to actually type in a station. That's pretty nice if you just know your stations by heart, as some do. You have the ability to switch between DX and LOC, and then stereo and mono outputs. Over here, there's the auto search feature, and then this is preset search. So it'll, go through your presets until it finds presumably some signal. It's not going to find any here because we don't have this hooked up to an antenna, but that's what that would be for. Then you have your options over here on the right. Oh, there we go. So you can jump right into your options from here, and it actually, nicely enough, just takes you straight to the radio options because that's kind of where you were. As for radio options, you have region settings, so North America, Latin America, and Europe. RDS, RDBS, RT data display, TAAF. A lot of this you won't be, really ever messing with, especially if you purchase this in North America. You're probably never even going to open the screen. Custom here, so this is actually your EQ on the right side, so you can cycle between your presets. So rock, R&B. We'll get into the EQ a little bit more. Oddly enough, you can't go directly to the EQ from here, which I think is a bit of a miss. It would have been nice to have been able to, like, you know, long hold this down, go straight to the EQ, but it's nice that you can at least kind of cycle through, and it's pretty snappy. If you kind of see at the bottom there, you can go through them pretty quick. Jumping back to the home screen here, so you have your media player. We don't have anything plugged in right now, but your phone. Okay, making sure it didn't dox me or anything. But you have a keypad here, contacts, your recents, device. That's pretty nice, and I believe the ability to search. No, I guess it's just, yeah, it just shows what you're typing. So that's cool. So pretty standard, but a functional little phone option there. And then projection. So we have Android Auto turned on, so we can pop in there. And this is really like what you're going to be purchasing the stereo for, is Android Auto. Also for, I guess, radio, you know, here and there, but Android Auto is just kind of taken over. Apple CarPlay, of course, obviously as well. And I think it does a pretty good job here. It does feel a bit squished, but it is a 7-inch display, so you know it's taken as much of the screen up as you can. You have all the bells and whistles that you typically see on Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. You have kind of your bottom nav here, settings, phone, your music. You can adjust these two within your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto app to kind of configure it. You have the quick search here. Please go away. I think this works here too. Yeah, so it's the same concept. You can actually just click the little button there, and I believe that would work too if you were like on the home page. So you can click here, and it's gonna pop you right in and pop up Google Assistant or Siri, and that's really nice, kind of quick, and you know, it takes out a few seconds of navigation, and great for hands-off driving. Just kind of quickly getting to maybe what you want, a certain song you want to listen to, or something like that. So that, I like that. This is a home screen for Apple CarPlay. And one thing I do really like about this is it actually grabs, and this is pretty typical with Apple CarPlay, but I like that it grabs the background of your cell phone. This one you maybe can't see as well, just with it being on video through a screen. But it is nice that it kind of crops in on whatever your current background is on your phone. And then these are just kind of all your typical Android Auto, Apple CarPlay settings. 3 messaging apps, because you can never have enough friends. Phone, smart things, weather, YouTube music, and then you can actually, not available while driving because we didn't ground the parking brake. So we're back, we've got our car in park, and now we have the ability to hit customize. So it's going to ask you to open your launcher. Well, it'll open it by default, and this is what that's going to look like. So you have all the available apps for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay that you can use, and you can actually just come in and take out really anything that you don't kind of like or don't want to see. So like you could get rid of all of this, and you'll see it down here at the bottom as hidden apps. And then whenever you go back, it'll tell you that you have to reset for those changes to take effect. So you can actually just turn off your Bluetooth. So once you've reset or unconnected then reconnected Android Auto, you'll pop back in, and now you'll see a much simpler set of options here for your various apps. So I really like that. I usually simplify mine down to really just what I'm going to be using while driving. It's nice that you have all the messengers and all that stuff, but honestly, I just use kind of maps and my music and phone a little bit, but usually it's just answering calls, hanging up calls. So that's it for that. Overall, I think it does a really good job with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's very responsive, I would say, as you kind of scroll through. You can even adjust some further settings here, so show message notifications, first line, message chime, summaries, start Android Auto automatically. I really like that. I usually keep that on my vehicle. Start music automatically. I keep mine on that. And then use phone wallpaper, so you can actually turn that on or off. Day-night mode for maps. I like that a lot. It can get a bit annoying sometimes. You go under like an overpass and it thinks it's nighttime all of a sudden, but it swaps back pretty quick. Driver seat location, change layout, quick controls for apps, work accounts, electric vehicle settings if you drive an electric vehicle, so you can turn on like your EV charging stations. It's pretty nice. But yeah, it's just kind of your general Apple CarPlay, Android Auto vibes here for the settings. But I'd say it's really good, really snappy. Really Responds rather quick, I would say, for, you know, being a pretty just entry-level little boss guy. So I like it. So that's kind of Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We will jump back over here though, look at some more settings here. So we'll start at the top. You have general, you know, date, daylight savings time, all that good stuff, English or Spanish, steering wheel controls, and then they have like a learning setup too, which is pretty nice. Once it's actually connected, it's grayed out right now because we don't have one set up. We jump over to audio. So this I really like. You actually have source levels for all of them. So you can set individual source levels for your radio. Now, once you're in that source level, your volume rockers there are gonna do that for you, but these are kind of just like default startups here. So you can actually, and you can see it's pretty snappy when you're moving them. So you can set those for, you know, radio, USB, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM. This thing is not very useful. I mean, it is useful, but it's kind of, since it's so close to the edge, a little tough to really use, but I'm also at a bit of an angle, so it might be a little easier installed. And then your source level here. You can actually do navigation as well, main volume, Bluetooth ringer, voice. I think we actually started at the bottom of the list. So up at the top, you have loudness on or off, subwoofer on or off, and then jumping into the EQ here. Typically you're gonna start here. So this is your EQ with the 13 bands. Also, I did this initially, like I was like, why aren't these working? It's currently off, so you actually have to go over to custom. And now you can adjust and play with these however you like. And then you can also come through, you know, your individuals. You can't adjust the individuals. That's kind of why they're like, you get your one custom over here and do with it what you wish. But it's nice, you know, your typical kind of preset EQs. You have your balance settings you can kind of play around with. Also pretty snappy. Crossover settings. You have a sub filter. You have an all pass. You can do 50, 80, 120, 160 for those. You have sub level, kind of just like a little like bass boost kind of vibe. And then you have main audio, and main audio. So this is actually your high pass and low pass here. And your high pass, it's 20 to 250 hertz, and then low pass 20, or actually low pass goes all the way down to 2 and all the way up to 20. So that's nice. And it even has a cute little graph over here. You can kind of visualize what you're working with here. Yeah, 2 kilohertz to 8 to 20. Yeah, that's right. So that's cool. You cannot like drag these as far as I know, but I don't think you'd really want to. And then you have your time alignment settings here. You can adjust those in terms of milliseconds. So that's really cool. Pretty quick as well. You can always reset them. Do your subwoofer here. And you can actually set different presets as well. So that's your kind of overview of the EQ. Overall, not bad for like an entry-level Apple CarPlay low car stereo. As I said before, it kind of like ticks all the little boxes you'd be looking for in a unit at this price. We actually went in before and turned up all these settings. So let me just, I don't know how well it'll come through on video, but I'll reset them all the way to like 10, which is the default setting here. I think most stereos that I've ever seen or had in a vehicle, generally like just when direct sunlight hits them and they got fingerprints, you know, you're not gonna get as good of a picture as you do on your cell phone. But for this, I'd say I would probably be rocking just max settings here, just because I feel like this gives you the best picture, but feel free to kind of come in and play with these as you wish and whatever kind of best picture setting you get kind of in the daytime or in the nighttime. But you can adjust gamma day, gamma night, day brightness, night brightness, and auto dimming. I like auto dimming. And then down here, by default, it'll actually start with this animation effect. So this is for your LED backlighting and your little like RGB lights here on the side. They'll kind of just cycle through all the colors, which if you like, you know, leave it there and don't ever touch it. But when you land here, you may just do what I did and try to start clicking these, and you'd think, oh my goodness, my boss unit is broke and I can't use these beautiful RGB lights that they've put in here. But you actually just have to turn off the animation effect. So when you turn that off, you'll be able to adjust those to just like the static red, yellow, green, blue, purple, white. lighting there, and those actually affect, you know, all of your key buttons, as well as a nice little ring around the USB-C input there, so that's kind of nice. We'll put it back to there. Bluetooth, pretty typical, just a couple settings: auto connect, auto answer, auto download, and then Bluetooth on or off. Radio, those are kind of those radio settings we looked at earlier. Not really ever going to play with those much. And then camera, you have front camera input, rear camera input, rear camera view. These are just to like toggle them on. Toggle on or off your parking assist guidelines. Parking assist setup wizard. So when you actually have this set up, you can kind of play with the angles here and like really fine tune it to your backup cam, because, you know, backup cams are universal in the sense that you could put them on any car, but the picture that comes through them maybe is a little different from model to model. So you can kind of play with these, kind of line it up to, you know, whatever backup camera that you've got. If you bought it on Sonic Electronics, you may have even got a really good deal on a backup camera, maybe a free backup camera. Be sure to check the link in the description down below, see what kind of specials we may be running. And that's really about it for the settings and everything. Overall, I mean, they've got the standard settings. They've got a few little things that are nice to have, and I like it. I think Boss has really come out with a pretty good doubled-in Apple CarPlay. I personally would probably spend the extra money to get the wireless option. Having the wired before versus the wireless now, I'm a bigger fan of the wireless, and it has the iDataLink Maestro, which if you have a newer vehicle is probably a better option. In the older vehicles, there's not really a ton that the Maestro is going to do for you, but in the newer cars, it can bring over a lot of those really cool factory settings there. So if you're at all interested in the Boss BE7ACP.x, which is the wired only option and does not have the iDataLink Maestro capabilities, or the Boss BE7ACP.wx, which wireless and iDataLink Maestro capabilities, check out the link in the description down below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.